So the first step in any new venture, whether you're starting your own startup or working within an existing institution, is to start by understanding the challenge you want to tackle. So for the purposes of this course, we're going to ask you to actually pick a challenge and stick with it for the rest of the course. It doesn't have to be the challenge you'll spend the rest of your life solving. It just has to be something that you care about, something that you know about and have experienced, something that you're locally tied to in the sense of understanding the setting and the people affected by it, something that motivates you and drives you, and something that you might have resources and skills to contribute to. So the exercises in Chapter 2 help you narrow down on a topic and then really drive home the message that you have to start by understanding the problem. So a lot of social entrepreneurs get their inspiration from an untapped opportunity or a set of resources that they feel could be mobilized to tackle a social challenge. And that's great. And even if you start from that perspective with a solution in mind, you still need to step back and understand the challenge. Because chances are you're not the first person that wanted to solve this problem. These are really complicated, sticky social challenges we're dealing with, and others before you have tried to solve them. So rather than wasting time and resources reinventing the wheel, you want to study what others have tried before you and build on that. You want to learn what worked and, more importantly, what didn't and why. You want to talk to people who have tried tackling this challenge before, who are working on it right now, and most importantly, the people affected by this challenge. So some questions to ask in order to frame your research about understanding the challenge is to start by what you're going to work on. What are the characteristics of this challenge? What does it look like? How did it start historically? Why does it exist? And how is it manifested? Who does it affect? You want to narrow down on a demographic population and understand where they are, what their life looks like, and how they interact with this problem. Where is it located, or where are you working at least? Do you want to focus down on a specific place? Is it distributed geographically or demographically in a very variable way, or is it more homogeneous? There's so many dimensions in terms of what, who, and where. And most importantly, you want to understand why. What are the root causes and pathways that lead to this problem? Because social challenges are so multifaceted and there are always underlying root causes. And what you want to do in order to maximize your chances of success as a social entrepreneur is to try to dig down as deep as you can in terms of the root cause. You might not always be able to tackle that deepest root cause, such as corruption in the government, or weak infrastructure, or historical poverty. You might have to go a few steps up, but you want to try to avoid just having a band-aid in terms of only looking at things on the surface and fixing them. You want to try as much as you can to go upstream. And you'll figure out in the coming steps where your intervention will be. For now, your goal is to just really understand the problem. Most importantly, understanding the mechanisms about how it affects people. Now, a few ways you can start by doing this is just traditional research. You can look online. There are global data sets about social indicators around the world. Then once you narrow in on a country, there are national data sets. There are international and local organizations working on it, thought leaders you can talk to who have published about it. So try to do your secondary data collection really at this stage in terms of pulling together everything that others have come up with. And in the next stage, you'll go out there and gather your own primary data. There's a lot of helpful tools that you can use to visualize these root causes and pathways. One of my favorites is the inverted Ishikawa, which is basically the fishbone diagram, but I've inverted it to help visualize really the root causes. And there's also a fun video online by Matt Anderson at Harvard Kennedy School that you can use to try to make your own inverted Ishikawa to understand the root causes of the challenge that you're tackling. You can also use DAGs, which are direct acyclic graphics. I think that's what it stands for. We use this in public health and epidemiology, which I was trained in, but it's really helpful also to visualize the different variables that affect a social problem. And so there's different ways to analyze your results in terms of making tables or diagrams or whatever, but the most important thing that you want to come out with this step with come out from this step with is having picked the challenge you're going to tackle and having done your research on these 5 components. Excuse me. What, who, where, why, and how, and understanding prior attempts to solve it. All right, now let's go get started.